Well, a warm, pleasant good morning from the Oklahoma State Capitol. I'm Dave Morris alongside my colleague from the Oklahoma, Ben Felder. Ben, good morning.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. We have heard a collection of Drake's greatest hits. Got some Despacito blaring in the background. It's day 3 of the Teacher Walkout here in Oklahoma. Day 1, large gathering outside the state capitol. It was cold. Day 2, very windy, but most of the action was kind of on the inside, although there was a large rally out here. But on the inside, teachers were able to talk to the lawmakers. We saw some tensions rise at that point. Day 3, perhaps a little student-organized or student-oriented focus today. We've already spoken with a couple of the students, including Gabrielle Davis out of Edmond, who has organized a rally today.
Yeah, she said that she was here on Monday, and she kind of looked around and thought, hey, there needs to be more students here. This is about us as well. And so she organized a rally over Facebook, and we were talking to her this morning. She was kind of like, oh man, what have I done? Because she was talking about the stress of kind of organizing such a large event like that. But she said, hey, students need to be out here, and they need to make their voices heard. One of the things that she showed us is that she has the date that she turned 18 and became an eligible voter written across her t-shirt on the front. On the back, she has the name of her senator and representative, and she said, hey, I want them to know that we know when to vote, and we know who our lawmakers are. And so she said that today is going to be about students making their voices known. I talked to a few other students earlier, some students from Carl Albert from the same English class that were saying, hey, when it comes time to reading chapter books, we all have to buy our own books. Our teacher and our school can't afford to provide those for us. There were a couple of students from South Moore who brought their drum set that are in the band, and they said, hey, in our 3 years in high school, the drum fees have gone up several $100s. There's a lot of kids who can't even afford to be in drums. So we expect to see a lot of students here today. We've heard a lot of teachers tell their stories. Today it sounds like we're going to hear a lot of stories from students.
The students plan to rally right behind us at 10 o'clock this morning. We plan to carry that live here on newsok.com. Gabrielle told us she expects it to last 30 to 45 minutes. Then they will march inside. They want to make their presence felt. I believe the Facebook post says she wants the legislators to put eyes on the students later this afternoon. And let's dive into some of those conversations. Gabrielle mentioned she's out of Edmond, and she said, hey, that's a little bit more of an affluent school district, but the students recognize the needs across the boards with students who may not be as privileged.
Yeah, she said, hey, we live in a community where you wouldn't expect us to be facing the kind of challenges we face with, old desks and broken lockers, a lack of textbooks and supplies in the classroom. We talked to a parent who has a young daughter that's going into pre-K next year in Norman, another kind of well-to-do community in a lot of ways, and a university town. And she said, hey, it's giving me pause about whether or not I want to send my daughter to school next year, but she's out here advocating. So, yeah, a lot of students out here, they plan to make their voices heard. And like we've seen from the teachers, their plan is after the rally to go inside and try to talk to lawmakers.
You'll see those students again in their white T-shirts with the date of when they could be eligible to vote. That'll be the uniform of today. We mentioned a little bit of tension yesterday, and I'll let you kind of recap what we saw and heard and perhaps what we may expect today from the legislation side of things.
Yeah, so yesterday a lot of the action was inside the Capitol. Teachers packed the building, so much so that at one point Capitol officials had to close down the entrances. Teachers in the morning when the House was in session were rallying just outside the doors, chanting as loud as they could. The focus for them was to try to get the capital gains deduction repealed, also maybe consider the addition of ball and dice and gaming as a way to pump more money into public education. Democrats in the House attempted to try to bring some of those measures to the floor. The Republican majority voted against even hearing those issues. Outside, the teachers continued to chant and to scream. There was a sit-in for a while. I would still characterize it as a peaceful demonstration, but it got very intense. When the Senate met in the afternoon, the teachers kind of mobilized to the other side of the building and kind of did the same thing. And I think we're kind of expecting a similar look today. And yesterday, the intensity went up. I feel like, both sides also kind of, the frustration is kind of also on display. Teachers, their frustration is going up, even for lawmakers. Some lawmakers even pushed back and said, hey, this isn't the way to act. I'm not going to vote for anything as long as you guys stay out of school. The governor made some comments on national television, comparing teachers to teenagers who have a car but want a nicer car,
Don't appreciate the car you have.
Yeah, which we were talking to Gabrielle this morning, and she's like, well, that's kind of an insult to teachers and to teenagers. But so that the rhetoric is kind of going back and forth. I think we're going to see some more of that today. You're hearing some lawmakers also say, well, a lot of these teachers aren't even from Oklahoma.
I was going to ask you about that. We heard a little bit about that yesterday, and then last night on social media, some of those talking points were amplified. Are you or any of our colleagues seeing outside influence?
I have not seen, and I've talked to, dozens, if not hundreds of teachers. I've been in all parts of the Capitol, all parts of the rally. I definitely have seen some people from other states in the sense that I've heard that officials from the union in Arizona came to kind of observe, or from other states like that. But I can't imagine that there's a significant presence of outside teachers or outside agitators, as some lawmakers have put it. And when you cover rallies and demonstrations like this, it's kind of a common refrain sometimes from lawmakers to say, well, it's one thing if it was our teachers, but it's really just a lot of outside agitators from places like California and Chicago and some of these more progressive places that kind of feed into that narrative. I'm not saying that there isn't anybody from out of state, but I just have not seen that. And like I said, that's kind of the natural part of the rhetoric that you start to hear. But as we saw the intensity rise yesterday and the frustration rise yesterday, I kind of expect a repeat of that today.
It'll be interesting. It's a beautiful day outside. We don't have the gale force winds that we had yesterday. So, again, the rally at 10 o'clock with the students. We'll have that live streamed on newsok.com. Ben Felder, he has an email list that comes out every morning on newsok.com that does a nice job of recapping all the local education headlines and some national headlines as well. It's called The Morning Bell. Be sure to sign up for that on newsok.com. A lot of coverage in today's Oklahoman and online at newsok.com from Tim Willard, Dale Denwald, Justin Wingeter, and Ben Felder, among others, doing a good job of covering all the doings out here at the Capitol. Ben will be all over it throughout today. What are some of the stories that you may be following, some storylines that you may be pursuing today?
Well, obviously the students this morning, kind of getting some of that student perspective. This afternoon we're going to be tracking any movement in the legislature. We're not sure what to expect, but continue to try to get responses from lawmakers about why they do or don't support various bills or proposals. I think we're going to probably see another large crowd inside, and then as always, the next question is this going to continue tomorrow? And I think it will be. A lot of schools have said that they're going to be closed for the rest of the week. There's teachers starting this morning. In fact, I think they've already started a 110-mile march from Tulsa to the Capitol. As I said yesterday, that's not something you do if you think that this walkout is going to end anytime soon. So we'll be kind of following that. You mentioned our colleague Tim Willard had a good story this morning about teachers in Western Heights District. Western Heights went back to school yesterday, but upwards of 30 teachers decided to walk out and were here at the Capitol. Even after their district had basically sent a letter from the district attorney, saying the school district's attorney, saying that they might be violating their contract. So there's a lot of storylines, not just here at the Capitol, but across the state and the region, and we'll continue to follow them.
One storyline that Tim had, I believe, also is the students being fed today.
Yeah, so Oklahoma City Schools has been, like a lot of districts, has been still keeping up with free breakfast and lunch for students. A lot of students, especially in some of your low-income districts, rely on that daily meal. So when schools close, there's a risk of going without food for the day. And so the district has been delivering meals to various sites on buses, and they also have a food truck. They're going to be here this morning, and they announced that they're going to be providing meals for all students that are here at the Capitol.
Numerous storylines and headlines from the Oklahoma State Capitol. I'm Dave Morris alongside Ben Felder. Again, ongoing coverage throughout today at newsok.com, a student rally live stream at 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching, guys.